In today's news, James is born ready. Therefore, I didn't even need to ask him if he was ready a second time.
I just got the notification on
know,
my watch.
I know. That's when I clicked live.
It's weird how that works.
Yeah, right? Odd. So, welcome to episode, I think, 54 of On Target Talks. James never confirmed it. I asked him to about 10 minutes ago. And
it's all good. My internet's been so slow.
That, a good thing you know, wouldn't it be really cool if it was just like a brick-shaped thing that had like internet worldwide? And then,
that would be pretty
then if there wasn't localized internet, you could just connect to this really, you know, and we'll call it like 4G or something like that because it sounds cool.
Where does that come? You can't just say it's 4G because it sounds cool. That doesn't make much sense.
Sure.
You're right. Just like your routing of these wires.
Yeah, it's just it's like a little trap for children. Get their neck caught in it or something. That'd be funny.
So, on today's episode of On Target Talks, we are talking about LMGs, light machine guns and airsoft.
Tasty.
Hotspot with your phone. We've discussed this. This is literally the 72nd time I've told you can hotspot with your phone. And you have unlimited network internet.
I do.
I think I can hotspot too. I'm not
Show
sure.
me.
I'm new to the
Like, welcome to the freaking 21st century.
personal
James.
hotspot.
I know
21st
you're a little bit
century.
lagging with the whole technology
I have
thing.
Oh yeah, you know me.
I know I have to tell you like where the start menu is on the computer and stuff, but
Yeah, you know me. Hang on, let me get my Wi-Fi thing going.
But like I said, we're gonna be talking about LMGs.
Get your own internet, peasant. That's right. I forgot I named it that.
Their rules, what types of guns we think qualify, what types of guns do qualify. For example, what we might use as requirements compared to other fields, how practical we really think they are. The proper way to use them, trust me.
Yeah, there's a
proper and an improper way to use them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's gonna be mostly today's topic today. That was a little repetitive.
It's gonna be lit.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm leave now.
But before we do that, Dan here is going to take away the announcements.
All right, so there it is.
Alright, so here we go.
We're also going to be doing a short and sweet AAR of yesterday's event.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We'll be doing that about midstream.
Yeah.
But first, Dan's going to discuss.
Okay, this week, I can't believe it. Like coming hot off the heels of the event, we have more fun. This weekend, Friday the 16th is going to be pistol shotgun night, so pistols and shotguns only, and gas blowback rifles as well. But no HPA tapped magazines or Daytona guns. It's all gas in the magazine. Tippins don't count because they're a higher capacity. It's not really the same as a standard gas blowback rifle, 30 to 40 rounds versus 80 rounds. So that's from 5 to 9, $15 standard admission. You can still rent masks or whatever.
And you all should show up because I'm trying to prove to a point to James that adult night is so awesome we should do it twice a month. So if there's a bunch of people here this month, March will have 2 of them. So don't forget that.
It's going to be all
It's
right.
gonna be lit. I should be playing that day, hopefully. If the schedule's up.
Jake's playing.
He is?
Yeah. But then
Yeah. So then adult night is obviously the 17th. That's this upcoming Saturday. So from 6 to midnight. Yay! 6 to midnight, we're going to have...
sorry, that's the one I was talking about. There'll be 2 of them. It's popular. Just to be clear, I thought you were already done adult night. Whoops.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was pulling at James. I wasn't listening.
So the 17th, 6 to midnight, we're going to have standard Airsoft Gaming 11 a.m. to 7. It's still $25, but 6 p.m. to midnight is going to be $20. 30 with rental. Different rule set, 400 FPS. No required safety kill. More intense gameplay, realistic lighting, a bunch of other aspects you can't normally get, real pyro. So most of the stuff we can't really get into a normal day just because of the player population. So then make sure you guys are coming out for that, supporting those events. Like we said, if you don't support these events, we can't keep making them happen because then obviously you guys don't like them. So Then we have the 2018 Northeast Airsoft Expo. That is going to be April 8th. That is a Sunday. That is the second week. Excuse me. That is the start of the second week in April. So what that is we're going to have teams, stores, probably some companies are coming out. They're interested. I know you had talked to some people like Greg Wall.
Yeah, Greg Wall should be hopefully coming. Still waiting on confirmation.
So he'll come out hopefully with PTS, and some other companies will hopefully join as well. But it's going to be a good experience. It's a really good community experience for us in the Northeast. It's going to be everybody coming together in one place. You're going to have teams reserving booths, so you can go up, ask them, what kind of kit should I run? What does it take to be on a team? How did you guys start your team? How did you get on a team? All of those things. And you'll get to also see some of the stores and fields you have in the area. So you have a lot of stores that will also hopefully be joining, so then you know that there's more than just Extreme Airsoft, because there are some people that don't know that we exist, and there's some people that don't know maybe Stronghold exists. So it's a good opportunity to get a lot of different experiences, really just for the entire community to amalgamate as a whole, so that we can all hang out and have a good time. Coming in and experiencing everything costs you nothing. You can just come, you can hang out, you can chat up all the teams, all the companies, everybody that comes. And if you have a team and you're interested in setting up a table, you'll have to bring your own table. But it only costs $10. You can set up, you can show what you're about. Electricity will be provided, so if you want to run a laptop all day,
bring extension cords.
But we'll provide electricity so that you can play your laptops and videos and whatever. And $20 if you want to vend stuff. So you want to sell patches, you want to sell some gear, you guys can set up your...
Or if you're a store.
Or if you're a store and you want to sell your product, you can absolutely do that too. Some teams will, like we normally, like the Reapers will usually set up some of our kit, our guns, just a bunch of different stuff that we run just to show that there's more than just just another M4 out there. So it's a really cool little experience. So hopefully a lot of people will show out for that, because every time it's always a good experience. It's good to see a lot of the cool people in the Northeast that we don't always get to see unless we're going to games. They live 5 hours away, so we can't always just be like, hey guys, let's hang out. So that'll be a really good experience. So hopefully you guys should come out for that.
Hell yeah.
And be there.
But cool.
Great
Thank you,
experience.
Dan. And let's jump into today's topic. So where do we want to start? We can start about different saws on the market. We can start with...
I did have a question. Who makes the best 249 saw?
For a very long time, I would have said Classic Army.
Yeah.
For like the last 10 years of Airsoft.
I don't think they make it anymore, right?
I think they do, but...
Classic Army, I remember hearing about. Everybody wanted to get the Classic Army, and then people were like,
We've had not the best experiences with Classic Army here, unfortunately.
A lot of people seem to go with, as default, they'll default to A&K 249s.
What's nice about the A&K 249s is that they're still pretty good quality, and they're half the price of a Classic Army.
Exactly.
So anything, you can make up that price difference with upgrades.
Yeah. And usually A&K box mags are a lot easier to find they're hard to find in general, but you can find the small nutsack ones. Those will work just fine. You can find them for a lot cheaper. But
yeah, the mag brand ones are really good.
What's your opinion, James, in terms of best 249?
The best 249, really, isn't it just A&K that makes it? I think there's one other that makes
Echo One used to make them.
Yeah, I think it was a rebrand.
It's a rebrand,
yeah. So honestly, the A&K one is a really
GMP
solid.
In terms of performance per dollar,
GMP.
GMP did one. GMP made a really good one.
GMP are good at making really good ones that are really expensive.
Yeah, GMP is the one turn-off, because always you're just like, is it worth spending that much money? Especially now, you're like,
Yeah, their externals were always king though. Their internals were
prime,
but their externals.
Their externals were pretty prime.
But like I said, hopefully we answered that appropriately.
Yeah, no, I think the A&K one's the best 249.
It's the best option you have on the market right now.
So do we want to speak, kind of rolling off that, do we want to talk about some of the different saws out there and some of our favorite ones accordingly?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So All right, let's start this with ones that are definitely saws, and then move into those kind of like
questionable ones.
Like a
Shrike,
like an M27, like a Shrike,
Ooh,
like a
yes.
G36 full size.
Yeah.
The rifle saws, as I like to call them. So
you obviously have 249s, Mark 46s,
miniguns.
Mark 48s, miniguns. Those are obviously classic. The Mark 46s always have the rails on the front. Can get pretty bulky. A lot of people I know don't really run anything on the front of their 249s. They kind of model it like a. I guess I'm not really sure what kind of like a.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
They like take it off. They just like run a grip on it. Like they're like, all right, just gonna drill it, and then just try to minimize it as much as possible. Because it's really bulky and it's really heavy. Like I've used a 249 once or twice, and it's
not my cup of tea.
No, M60s are even worse because it's not like their box mags are like.
They look pretty good.
they look very nice. I had it Mark 43. I had the A&K one, so it's the one with the integrated grip. What?
No, I was gonna say I was waiting for you to.
Oh, okay. So it was. I mean, it was good in a wrecked house. It had the adjustable rate of fire on it, which was super cool. But holding it was so bad because the box mag adds like an extra 6 inches. So when you're holding it,
if you're
have
right-handed, this
you're
is
done.
one time James was the right-handed.
If you're right-handed, you're literally. I was just like, I can't walk around all day doing this.
It's like a plop down and.
Yeah, you're gonna just set it up on something like bipod out. And you're just like, I'm just gonna spray for a while. M60s.
What were you gonna say, James?
I was gonna say I had an LMG for a while. I had a Polar Star one. I was actually and Bingo had touched. This is actually before they made the actual 249 kits.
It's really funny because I was so proud of it. I was like, well, you could just buy the 249 kit. You're like, this was before though.
Yeah, it was before they made the 249 kit, so it was Bingo custom. And
I had a 249 kit before everybody else had a 249 kit.
Exactly, and the best part was the box mags were all wired to wind automatically when I pulled the trigger. He had set up that like the third solenoid option on the FCU, so that's why when you look at the FCU, there's actually that little open port there. That's what you can use that for, is controlling small stuff like that. And I had that. It was pretty fun. Like I put some money into it. I put a Type board. I put that. What is it?
How do you put money into it? Just like open it up and like shove it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's basically what Airsoft is, just shoving money into them. But yeah, no, it was pretty good. You know, it got some crazy range, but I just never had a chance to use it.
Style enough to.
It's fun. The saws are a lot of fun, but like I was sitting on this $800 LMG that I use, I think like once a year. So I was like, I'd rather just sell this. I think I sold it for a Daytona gun, which I used 4 times a year. So that was obviously better.
Used 4 times a year, broke 10 times a year.
All of it.
It's like a Sistema PGW!
Oh my god, it was
really bad because I sold that and I got the Daytona gun, and this one actually worked really well. It worked so well that I couldn't get it field legal because I couldn't turn down the PSI enough. Because at one point you reach that threshold of like 80 PSI where it doesn't cycle anymore. But I like even trying to make the 350 mark, because everyone there knew me. This is when I still worked here. Like even just trying to make 350, I couldn't really make it happen without it like acting like complete crap. It was just such a disappointment. It really was.
It's funny. It's hilarious.
Oh well. I'll get another one eventually.
RPKs though. I think RPKs I think are low key. They're low key, but I think they're kind of like unsung heroes. The cool thing about the RPK is that they have. I mean, you wouldn't classify that as like their rifle. Like that's
a saw.
That's a saw. So, but it's good. It's a. Practical. It's practical. It's a practical weapon because you have safe, semi, and auto.
Now, see, a lot of field rules require you to run a box mag if you're going to be running. So I would question with an RPK, in your opinion, guys, they have those 1,000-round AK mags. Would you accept that as an RPK box mag because they ran that something similar in real life?
Yeah.
Or would you say no, it has to have a true drum mag?
I'd say drum or the full size, the 800,000 round mag. The one that's super huge. Yeah, that one. That counts.
I would kind of stick to drum mag. I'm gonna go with James on this one. I think.
Well, I say if it I can't speak, I guess. To qualify for an LMG, it has to be used as an LMG in the real world.
So I can use my M27 in a regular magazine?
Yeah, sure. That's completely fine. That's totally fine in my book.
No, not an Airsoft. M27 is just a full-length 416 in Airsoft.
Sure it is, but the Marines use it.
Yes, but you don't have the disadvantage.
It's just barely I mean, in most places, the M27 just barely qualifies it because it's been in service for 5 years. Yeah, exactly. Some places still say no.
And most of them require, like we do here, if you're going to do that, you have to run a bipod and a box mag on.
Bipod, grip, box mag, and it has to be the full length.
Because you have to have the weight disadvantage.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everybody would just run an M27.
That's why those AK fat mags are really great because they're not practical by any means to get around.
True, I mean, it's fair. It's fair. You can't fit more than one in a mag pouch.
Yeah, there's no way. When I was I figured it out in Justice, I was like, man, I'm not really allowed more than one mag, I think. So I guess I'll just carry this 1-800 round mag and I'll just live with it.
No, honestly, I think with, just to diverge for a moment, I think with LMG rules, they really have to be balanced where the LMG user does have to have some form of disadvantage to balance the full auto that they're given. Just like snipers are given the 100-foot minimum engagement range.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a form of disadvantage because in the real world, there's tons of disadvantages to running an LMG. You're carrying 800 pounds of ammo, for one. I know 800 pounds is an exaggeration. Don't yell at me, chat. It's an exaggeration. But you know what's going to happen. So you're carrying a bunch of ammo. You're carrying a gun that you need to carry extra barrels for, like with M249s. You deal with a lot more jams because you're firing full auto, especially with the M27. It's a great gun, but fact of the matter is it's an open bolt design when you're on full auto, so it does function difference, heavier components than a regular rifle. In Airsoft, all of that goes out the window. So the rules do have to be, in my opinion, balanced in a way that someone, basically it's not pay to win. Basically someone isn't just like, well, I'm going to go buy the really expensive gun that is a machine gun in the real world and say I can go full auto now.
Yeah.
And that's why, sometimes someone has an M27 and all that kind of stuff. When I was reffing, if there was another saw on the other team to balance it out, I'd be like, fine, you could be a saw today, but I don't put it as the rule.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. I just liked RPKs were always good because they were you could spend less than $300.
Oh yeah, no, RPKs were fantastic.
Cool. But M27's really well, I know Stag Ops allows the M27.
I think you do need to be
with a box mag, grip, bipod.
Again, so you're adding a massive bulk that really makes it
realistic. The whole thing that gives it that kind of a very big disadvantage. Yeah. Now it's been in service for. I think they adopted it in 20.
Oh, so don't get me wrong. In the real world, it's an amazing gun, and I don't know if most people know this. What really separates its firing function, the M27 lower is different than a regular lower. What it does is on semi, it's a closed bolt gun, meaning when you're done shooting, the bolt comes forward. On full auto, to allow better cooling of the bolt chamber and the expansion chamber on the gun, the bolt, when you let off the trigger, actually stays back.
Really?
To allow for more airflow through the upper receiver, down the barrel, stuff like that. It uses a heavier barrel and stuff like that too, of course. Right. And then you flip back to semi, and on the next shot, the bolt will go back forward to keep dust down.
I didn't know that.
And that's what I'm saying. It's mechanically a lot different on the inside than a standard 416.
Finicky.
It's honestly, on HK's side, it's genius. It's an amazing, fantastic rifle. Because now this guy can flip to semi and walk in a building just like the rest of his guys.
Yeah.
But, James, what is so obviously the answer is RPK for you. Kind of brings me, what is your favorite, on the airsoft market, looking at it as an airsoft gun, what is your favorite machine gun? Not the, I like M60s in the real world answer. The truly, you're going to go play with this.
No, I like the Stoner LMGs, the Knights Armament.
The Stoners are pretty
I was totally going to say the same thing.
They're lightweight, they're compact. They have everything you need. They have a rectangular body, so you get just the solid gearbox. You have a good box mag, that's not the A&K crap. And And there's nothing else extra, not like a million pounds of metal, it's not 80.
Well, I always look at it as like Aries' approach to that gun as an airsofter company, where they said, okay, what does someone who wants to run a machine gun want? And they literally gave, people are always like, it's a $400 gun and it's plastic. I'm like, it's a $400 gun, you actually don't care.
If you get the one from Z-Shot, it's metal.
Well, it has metal parts, there's still a lot of polymer on it.
No, the majority of the body is metal, yeah.
It didn't used to be.
Last time I had it, they retailed for like $350 and it had an all metal body.
It used to be.
ASG does the mark.
I remember when it first came out, people were wicked pissed that it was all plastic, but to me, I was like, just wait, like, this is fantastic.
ASG M60.
Yeah, that thing's made out of all plastic.
That thing is $500, but that thing is lightweight as hell. It shreds kids. Like Monty has one, and that thing.
James, you joined the chat.
In the game.
The chat, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like personally, what I feel like I need on a saw is I want it to also be able to go semi-automatic.
I would like semi-auto
because I know if you can have a semi-auto mod for like Isaiah's trying to do that with his stoner, or he was, but because at events, like at the events, you have your 30 foot.
Exactly, you can't enter a building if you don't have a semi-automatic function.
Yeah, you can't fire inside, and like MSAT is super specific. Like if you're
distracted,
you can only fire if you're 10 feet away from the entrance of the building. You can fire out, and that's fine, but you still have like a 20, 30 foot engagement distance. So that's why if you can't flip to semi, if you have a saw that can flip to semi, you can go in like Des said, just go right into the room right with everybody else, which is super practical.
You might have to restart my computer now because if I press the power button, it doesn't work right.
Why would you keep hibernate on your button?
It's not hibernate. It's supposed to put it to sleep. But remember, there's a whole issue with my hard drive.
Well, maybe you should have been paying attention to the
I was paying attention. I had both chats up.
Oh, jeez. Ow.
Did you not see that?
That's a big splinter, man.
Okay, what's the last thing Dan said?
It's the last thing I said. I don't know because I've been dealing with this now.
No, you haven't actually been dealing with it. You've just been You've been on Gunbroker.
No, I've been on the Facebook, YouTube, and Gunbroker.
Yeah, and I know which one you were paying attention to.
You can't confirm that.
I can't, because what's the last thing Dan said?
I don't know, because I'm dealing with this.
Yeah, okay. What's the last thing he said before I hit the button?
I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, okay.
That was a long time ago.
Man, dude, a minute is a really long time.
It is a long time.
ADHD.
Yo, my mom made dinner steak and rice peas. Bless up. But I feel like I feel like that's a kind of, I mean, for me anyways, when you play a lot of even a lot of the events that you go to, like a lot of like the MSATA ones, you're gonna get into engagements like in buildings. Like when you go to like Patriot, like when we were at the Fitchburg AO, like that was super useful when I had the Shrike. We can talk about the Shrike.
Came back alive just fine.
It did. You actually got really lucky with that.
Oh, I got lucky.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of other.
I guess I got lucky.
What are other LMGs? Like honestly, I don't know.
Okay, let's talk about those
Stoner
LCT,
63s.
RPD.
Well, let's talk about some in between ones.
Oh, the Stoner 63s. Those are actually really solid. Like, Casey Quinn had one, and he loaned it to me, and that thing shreds. Like on a 9.6, that thing just
on a 9.6, bro.
The Stoner 63s, I think they're by GMP.
Yeah, they are.
They're really cool. They're surprisingly, decently lightweight.
I like that.
Every gun, literally every box mag. Somebody make a box mag that doesn't break. I think the only ones that I've seen less problems with, I want to say are like the shorty ones, like the nutsack mags. I've seen less problems with those than I have with like AK drum mags that are either if it's motorized, something will go wrong. Like AK drum mags are the worst.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely a solution. I mean, it'd probably be like $200, but people would buy a $200 drum mag if it didn't suck.
If it didn't break, it would be worth the money.
No.
But like,
what do you think about that, James?
It's not. That's the problem. If the box mags are going to work, I would shell out the extra. If I had an LMG,
you weren't going to talk anymore.
No, I know about. I understand the conversation. No, it's just the plastic ones really just aren't really worth it at all. Like really, the nutsack ones for what, like $100?
They're like 50.
About, right?
The nutsack ones are like
50. Yeah.
They're like $50. They're cheap, but they like.
There's the thing is when you get to the whole proprietary box bag thing, like for example with the Stoner 63, I don't know, I can't remember how many times that's been in the back for repairs.
True. That's what I was gonna say. Is like
the
box
that's
bags.
Casey's gun.
Yeah, I know he breaks a lot of stuff.
Casey's like
he hasn't broken my bolt yet though, so that's
like you know how you could rob a bank, you break into the bank, just have them touch the bolt.
Yeah,
the door will fall off or something.
I guess. Sorry, Keith, if you're watching.
Did he touch your
If you're watching.
box bags?
I guess so.
All the time. Every event he comes up to you.
He touched it.
On the doll here.
Somebody make a good box bag.
Sorry, Casey.
If you guys have a good box bag,
You can try it.
that's why it was great to.
Yeah,
Ones are,
they had potential.
they're
but
too.
they fucked up.
They're too finicky.
They
I have
messed up the
problems.
design.
There's too much effort into running that box bag. I'm sorry.
Well, it's the whole thing where like you can only put the pellets in the
Yeah,
top. So
you
like,
have 2
you have to open the
reservoirs.
door and flip your gun upside down.
Yeah, you have 2 reservoirs. You have to shake it, wind like it was Crytek. What are you doing?
You know what's honestly, it's a perfect example of like the minigun has a fantastic mag.
Yeah,
That
it's
whole,
in the gun.
The whole spring-loaded thing to push
That's
pellets
awesome.
into the reservoir. Why is that not in every
I
box
know.
bag?
It works so well.
Have stick mags.
Like you could literally
You have a box bag and it's like a big U, and the spring
So
goes
like a
like
big-
this.
like it's
Yeah.
just like a just like
except
a high
it feeds all of them. Yeah.
It's just like a high cap. It'll feed just
All
like
of them. Is it the
Yeah.
United States Red Cross? Get it? Get it? Like the humanitarian efforts. Like
Okay,
Haiti. Get it?
but even like it will run. Like even if it
Woo.
skips every so often, it will just about feed to the last few beams,
Exactly.
which is awesome considering you have 2,000 rounds to work with.
Exactly.
And it's all 2,000 minus like 10.
So okay, let's talk about the minigun and microgun for a minute. Is it a practical gun to use in airsoft? It's a hell of a lot of fun. It's real cool. Is it a practical gun to run
For the
at
money.
an outdoor game? Don't ignore the money. Is it
Okay.
a practical gun to run? If you're on a vehicle and you got that,
So you're on a vehicle
mount.
now?
Yeah. On a vehicle, yes.
Vehicle,
And every
yes.
You
A
know,
microgun, practicality, if you're at an event, as on a person, I wouldn't say that, because you can't. I mean, not that the goal is like, you're not trying to aim, but the problem with the miniguns is you can't aim.
TV thing.
Unless you put red dots, unless you attach red dots to the gun, you have no idea where you're aiming.
Yeah,
that was
you're
my
not
number
gonna
one
gun and
problem.
shoot like that
Yeah,
either.
which is
It's a
irritating.
hip-firing gun.
I've had to do that in here. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I was firing and I was shooting the roof. I was like, why is that guy not calling his hits? I didn't know because I'm holding it down here.
You
So
know-
sometimes in videos, like, I'm holding it up here. I'm like, I think I'm hitting them, but I'm not sure.
You know what we should really do? Well, half the problem is when someone's behind cover and you're shooting him at like this, you're shooting down at him. When you're hip firing something and someone's behind cover, it might not have a line of sight when you do.
Yeah.
You know what we should do though
What?
for the ref minigun is literally put a laser on every single barrel.
That-
Because imagine a
That'd
being on
be the
rece-
scariest
receiving end of
thing
that,
ever.
and you just see this rotating
All you
thing
see is
of
that.
up.
That'd be so sick.
Would be fun.
Like, can we do that after the stream just to see how hilarious it is?
That'd be so crazy. That'd be awesome.
Right.
Like, that would scare.
Right.
If you were a player who had never been here before, that would scare the living. That would scare the life out of you, dog. Like, I'd be scared. I was like, I'd be standing there. I'm like, wait, what is that? You see it start to spin. It's like, burn. I'm just like,
We're doing that after the stream for sure.
that's
Um,
crazy.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the in-between guns.
Oh yes.
So, like, okay.
Let's get it
We
on.
kind of already discussed the M27 a bit.
Yes.
Opinions. The M27 is the hardest one because it's a long 416. There's nothing else that sets it apart
There's
other than
nothing,
literally
yeah.
its length.
Like in the military, it literally looks the same as
Yeah.
a rifle, which is the
Yeah.
purpose of it. But
But in airsoft.
in
it's
airsoft,
not.
it doesn't.
So ones that are a little more in between. Let's start with obviously the obvious one, the Shrike,
The
also
Shrike.
known as the Crytek. Is it just LMG?
Yeah, it's the Crytek.
Yeah.
Yeah, the LMG.
It's,
the
just,
Crytek.
it's model of the Shrike.
Yes.
They call it the Crytek LMG. Opinions on that. Now I know I got an LMG upper because I wanted to run a saw because I like exploiting rules. But realistically, what's our opinion on
I've run the Shrike a few times.
the
It's a good
Shrike?
It's
They're
versatile.
not bad. I mean, you get the version 2 gearbox.
Well, I'm not.
It's,
I meant more so as a rule set wise. It's a good
Rule
gun.
set. I
Who
mean,
who
I
actually
have no
like
issues with them.
uses the Shrike? Does
A
anybody
lot of
actually like? I
A
mean,
lot of people use them. Hella. You can
Yeah,
describe
I mean,
it as
when I was
hella
running
people
games,
use
I
Because,
didn't
like,
see
they
a lot
have
of
the
people
mini-
using them.
like it's kind of
Yeah, they
similar.
also work. Wait, you're talking about running games here? Yeah, they weren't released yet.
They weren't released last month when I was running games.
Ah, yes. Well, I wouldn't say that you were running games. Oh.
I wasn't running games for the
running-
last 3 months?
Well, running
Are you
gaming.
serious?
Running
Okay,
gaming.
dog, you
When
might
say
wanna
running
backpedal.
games, it sounds like
Stop
you're
digging.
talking
You're
about.
digging. You're digging. You're digging.
No, that's a genuine. It sounds like you're talking about event writing, which is what I thought you were getting at. Like running games, as in years ago when you wrote the events and did all them and all that.
Also, the Strike was released in like 20.
Like 20. It was like
14.
It was like, yeah, it was like,
2015, 2016, somewhere around there.
No, it was like 2014.
yeah,
I don't know,
because it was at my, I know,
Well, I
it had to be
was
like
there.
2014, because like it was one of my, I think it was my first Autumn Justice. I saw some dude rolling up with a Strike, and the thing was brand new. I was like, whoa, no way.
Yeah, it was released a while ago.
Wow,
That was really.
that was
professional
intense.
games.
That was intense.
I want to see who actually,
Just like
I don't
camping.
even know.
But so you think perfectly fine to use as a soft? What about with the regular magazine? Does it require the box bag in your opinion?
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because that's way
I
too
agree. I agree.
hard. Because the Crytek LMG is really short. Like the barrel is
The
too
original
short.
wasn't short.
James, so the second edition LMG came out in 2015.
Okay.
So the first gen was definitely 2014, if not earlier.
I don't believe it.
Ooh.
Also, what time is the stream, James? What time do we usually stream?
I guess it's at
can you
6:30. I
remind
thought it was
me?
earlier than that, though.
What?
I always thought that it was earlier than that.
We were having this argument the other day, or like a few days ago, and I was like, "Are you ready for the stream at 6:30?" He's like, "I'm not here till 8. Stream's at 4:30." I'm like, "Stream's at 6:30, James." And he's like, "No, it's not." I go, "Ask Dan. It's at 6:30."
He messaged me. In my head, I was like, I was with my friends. I was like, why is he such a dingus? I legit said that out loud, my friend. I'm sorry.
And then I literally was at work and I got the ping and I looked down and I just go, ha 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 ha, told you so.
That was so bad, dude. I'm sorry. Sorry, I was at school. I was just like, what is he doing? Yeah, of course we do it at.
So,
We only
okay.
did it not that way once.
Right, here's another one. G36 full length.
That's fine.
Does it require, it has an integrated bipod. Does it require a box bag?
I wouldn't say so.
It's much more LMG-esque. It's on the edge. It's
If
on the
I want to say it's still, I think it still should. It has to have.
edge.
I really want to say it should have the box bag
Like the integrated.
because those things are so light. The G36s are lightweight.
It's pretty light. That is the thing. I guess I lean
In the
towards
real
box
world,
bag.
it's a functionality thing. Like it's good, but in airsoft, that seems like it might be a little OP.
Well,
Just
it's fine,
'cause
fine. It has the
it's
both
like-
magnified optic and the red dot.
It's like a Shrek.
Like honestly, it's a
Okay.
fantastic gun. I don't know how people don't buy it.
The
for
sights that come with it are pretty garbage. If
That's
I
a
Unless
good
you
change
literally
spring.
replace it with a rail.
yeah, I was going to say you just replace it with a rail and it's much better.
Yeah, get that NC Star scope on top of it with
Mm.
the side red dot. Oh,
Yeah, but you know, I don't really have an issue with the whole thing because like when I say that it should be able to be used with regular size magazines, I'm not saying high caps because every Milsim event runner ever bans all forms of windy high caps. So therefore you have to use mid caps, and if you're using an LMG with mid caps, you kind of you can't just lay on it all the time, which is why I have no issue with it. It's more of like a burst fire like kind of gun instead of like just a.
but I would
Put
At
it
events,
down.
it's
I would argue at events, the idea is for LMG people to use their guns like LMGs. You give them the opportunity to run mid caps, they're gonna run mid caps. And if they're running mid caps, they won't be using the LMGs like they're supposed to, and it kind of ruins the whole point of it.
Well, if someone wants to shoot themselves in the foot for that, then why let them do it? You know.
I can understand enforcing the box bag. To be honest, I personally would.
I think so. It would make it kind of gives that look. Because then, other than that, you're like, oh look, it's
Yeah, again, it gives that disadvantage to balance it.
yeah.
And speaking of rules, actually, yeah, we'll talk about this and then we'll do our AAR. What about rule sets around saws? Let's start with the basic one. Do you agree with 1 per fire team?
Yes.
Yeah, 2 per squad, 1 per fire team. Yeah, that's fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Any more would make a team way too. You'd be way too effective.
I remember you used to be allowed to have saws on recon, and that was just OP. It was just these pairs of squads running around the field. That was not good. I'm not sure it was ever explicitly allowed, but it was not explicitly not allowed, so it was kind of a gray area. Now it's explicitly not allowed, as it should be. Minimum engagement range. Is 30 feet enough? Too much? Just right?
I think that's just right.
I think 20 feet. I have Emsato's rules up right here, and they're 20 feet. Look at an American military. I want to see what they do for theirs.
I like 30 feet. That's a decent engagement distance.
So, my only issue is 30 feet. For some people, for some reason, combat machine LMG?
Yeah, the one that we saw at SHOT Show, the one that's pretty much just another strike.
For some reason, people can't figure out what 30 feet is, as we've
Yeah,
discovered.
people just can't gauge distance.
Combat
That
machine
one?
LMG, which is
Sub $300 LMG.
Yeah, looks interesting.
Everybody's gonna be everyone's gonna have an LMG now.
Yeah, right.
I have an M4.
But what are some other specific rules about LMG?
I know MSATO does. You have to have. I mean, it's more the minimum engagement distance. If you're shooting into a building, you have to be at least 10 feet away. I like that rule.
Yeah.
It's pretty irritating. It happened at HA where a kid ran into a building and was just blasting us full auto, and I was like, okay, well I was 10 feet from the door, so technically, anyways, he shouldn't have been engaging at all.
It gets tricky.
But it's like, if it's 10 feet outside of that, then,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care. I'm gonna get shot.
Yeah.
shot. But if I'm gonna get shot at 10 feet on full auto,
It's a little
there's
So-
reasonable.
So that brings me to my next question. So we talked in the past about the really cool SMG rule thing. That who was it that's doing that? Alhap?
No, that's TCA, third
Oh,
coast
that's
Airsoft.
Which was really cool. Do you think LMGs should have a slightly altered rule set in that maybe they're only allowed 350 FPS because they're allowed full auto?
Not
And
if they have
then you can kind of get rid of the minimum engagement or reduce the minimum engagement ranges.
I'd rather have them have their minimum engagement range and have a higher FPS, just so you can reach out and touch someone a little bit further.
Yeah, I agree.
Because otherwise, the saw is just going to be like a noise machine.
Well, let's be honest.
It'll be irritating at point
That's
blank
what it
for
is
airsoft.
already. But
If you can use a saw well, they are not just noise machines.
But their main purpose is keep sets down.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You should see Brian.
Oh
in
yeah,
a saw.
I know you can run one right. Don't get me wrong. Well, we'll get into that after
Eats
the
kids alive with his saw.
We'll get into that after the AAR. Or maybe we'll do it first. I don't know.
I agree with that. If I'm gonna have a higher, I'll take the higher FPS and the minimum engagement distance.
Okay.
Just because even at 350, I still don't want to get overshot at point blank.
True.
It's just in general, I don't want to be shot. If I get a burst of a few, that's fine. But odds are, if you're an LMG, not everybody is smart enough to know. Be like, oh.
Yeah.
They're just well, I guess I could shoot 40 rounds a second, and I could just hold the trigger down for forever.
That actually brings me to my next
To the
point.
next point.
The rate of fire limits.
Yes.
What should they exist and what should they be? Let's start with
Absolutely,
you.
25 rounds a second.
But what about you just bought your brand new Crytek LMG and it's shooting 27 rounds a second right out of the box?
Use a lower powered lipo.
Hmm.
I mean, 27 rounds a second is it's not like I'm saying you should go up to the chrono and have them test your rounds per second. But if it's just spamming, that's obviously way too much. Yeah, if it's that junk, then
At the most, I'd say
Trust me, I'm feeling 25 too. I'm
Yeah.
just being
25.
advocate.
And if a kid's shooting 27, like that'd be fine. But anything over that, like,
I think guns that
is
are tunable,
unnecessary.
like Polar Stars, tune it to 25.
25,
please.
yes.
There's literally
If you
just a
can,
setting
if that's
that
something you
click
can
down to
manage.
25.
If that's something you can manage, then yeah. If you buy a gun with stock configuration and it's shooting 27 rounds a second, that's
Not the end of the
okay.
world.
That's not the end of the world. But if you're a Polar Star and you're like, I guess 50 rounds a second will do.
Let me throw this argument in there. Someone just spent the money on a classic Army minigun and shooting 35 rounds a second. Do you just say F off? Because it's obviously a massive disadvantage with that gun as it stands, but...
True. I'd say that it.
This is me just throwing out devil's advocate.
Yeah, because they do have those motors that are now they're supposed to put them up.
Or
to
even
like
if they bought
48.
a real airsoft minigun.
Oh,
Those ones shoot real high rate of fire right out of the box.
I would say keep it inside a vehicle. I wouldn't say have to mount it to a vehicle, but keep it inside.
But what if they were playing here?
Oh, here, I'm sorry, but here...
Well, one of the full size ones, no. But like, you'd still allow the micro. Well, the micro gun, yeah, the micro gun. You just have such a disadvantage. You don't know.
I might allow short bursts here and there.
Yeah, bursts would be fine, but like, no.
I don't know.
just
See what I mean? It's
straight
tricky.
streams. Yeah, it's
It's tricky.
hard because you're like, because they're already at such a disadvantage. I'm firing from the waist.
That's a lot
I
of broken lights.
don't know where I'm aiming.
Yeah, right.
So, what was the next thing I was going to get into? Oh, proper ways to run an LMG.
Your primary purpose.
Yeah, James, you obviously have a strong opinion here. Why don't you start this off?
LMGs are all like I said, they're always a support class, so they're never the front of your stack or the front of your your squad as you're moving through the woods. An LMG should always be set up like, let's say you have two fire teams, so you got fire team A and B. You hit contact on a trail. You guys should both dip off, and then the LMG should always create like a crossfire. But this is basic tactics, like that everyone else should always know. So, as an LMG, I would prefer that they have some kind of overwatch if possible. Like if I'm in a valley, I would prefer that him and a buddy go up on, go separate out up, and kind of be sneaky. Don't be loud about it. Set up into a position that we're about to move through. Give us overwatch throughout the entire point. We move to our next objective. Then the LMG will move up to another vantage point where they, can provide intel and suppressive fire from an elevated position while we move forward. Thus, if we hit contact, also creating a crossfire. So I think that there always should be set up much like a DMR role, and that they should always give covering fire from
Maintain distance.
from an elevated position. And if you're in like a CQB environment, then they should be third in stack and just spraying BBs. Like I don't even care if they're shooting up at the wall. Like while you guys are moving down a hallway, just to make noise. Like if it's in an environment that allows full auto indoors, or if you're in, very tight outdoor structures, they should just be like hammering down.
If there's a guy in the corner that you're trying to take out, blast that corner while a team member is not bad at stuff like that, right?
Yeah, like one of the things that we've done in Durka and at a few games is if the enemy is within 300 feet, there should be no reason why the saw isn't going off. Like you should always be making some kind of noise with that saw, and then moving up and then finishing the firefight. So that's how I feel about them. I think that they should always be used very strategically. They're in most parts the most important part of your, the most important key in your squad. Just because it's BB guns, every gun has just about the same range. Just that one you can spray BBs at unlimited. So to me, that's one of the most important parts of your squad is the saw gunner. So that's what I believe. That's how I feel.
Okay. What about yourself, Dan?
I'm a lot of the same. The primary function is to keep heads down. That's what it is. At least mostly in the real world, like you're just supposed to be keeping heads down. As long as you're firing, like that's why I don't see the need for people with like 50 rounds a second on their saws. Like you'll do work with 25.
Like honestly, if my primary role is running a saw, I'd do like 12. Literally just.
You conserve ammo, but you're still gonna keep heads down because all they're gonna hear is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But they're good. you know, you don't have any more range than a regular rifleman with a decked out rifle. But you're good for pushing
Give accuracy.
lines of contact. Yeah.
Also, my favorite thing is, so kind of building on what Dan is saying here, I love when people build saws with like tight bore barrels and super accurate hop-ups. I'm kind of like, you're missing the point a little bit.
Yeah.
I think a decent spread, and I don't mean like, I'm hitting, can't hit the right side of a barn. I mean, you know, a relatively decent spread at range can actually help more than it hurts. Because there's been plenty of times where, you know, I'll have a saw shooting at me and I'm like, oh, they're hitting this side of the tree.
Yeah.
I'll poke out from this side of the tree and shoot at them. And they have to switch back and forth.
Right.
Whereas if they just had a fairly inaccurate gun that was truly just randomly spraying either side of the tree, I wouldn't have an option to engage back at them.
Right. Because BBs would be
flat
flying everywhere.
But
Flat hopping gives
to get
you really
range,
good range, but not good.
left to right.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that is
Keep
probably
your stock
the
brass
only
barrel.
case I'd say flat hopping is the best bet.
Flat hopping is the best in general.
It's not at all.
It is.
I completely disagree. Because most people are taller than they are wide. So I'd rather have left-right accuracy than tall accuracy for 99% of the situation.
Facts.
Flat hopping on a saw, absolutely. I'd rather have that vertical accuracy and have a little bit of left-right.
I want, if I'm gonna have a saw, I want range. I'm not crazy about groupings. I just want to be able to get my rounds out there because I've had moments where I was like, and I can't reach out, but people can like clink. So I want to make sure that I can step
Also,
the game.
you know what I do like to do with saws? Very rarely ever I run one, but I do with my regular rifles, and I know it'd be good for saws. Don't be afraid to overhop them a little bit.
So it gives them some.
Well, the fun thing to do when there's someone hiding behind cover, and the pellet is raining down on them instead.
Yeah.
Or actually, you know, be willing to adjust your hop up in gameplay.
That too.
Sometimes if you can get the pellets to rain down, you can tag people behind cover. I mean, I've done it with a regular rifle. With a saw, it'd be even more easy.
Yeah.
You just have to turn your hop up all the way up and then turn your gun sideways and it'll curve around.
I mean, I've literally done that. Like all
You're
the way.
the worst kind of person.
I've never turned my hop up all the way up, but if there's a guy hiding behind a tree, I'll go like this with my gun, aim to the right, and watch the pellet go and whack him.
I've done that.
That's how they work in the real world, right? Bullets.
Well, yeah.
Bullets, I can engage you from a mile and a half away.
Yeah.
I've done that before once or twice. In here, it's funny because you're just like
pretty. I'm gonna say when someone thinks they're totally behind cover and you schwack them and you see that defeat in their stance.
they're just like, are you kidding?
It's pretty interesting. It's pretty great. And don't lie, James. You've done the same thing.
Not really. No, I really honestly
the opportunity.
never put my hop up all the way on.
No, I'm not saying I adjust my hop up. I'm saying if I'm engaging somebody and they're hiding behind a tree. It's just
I've never done that.
It's using the ability of your gun to its full advantage.
True.
Can't say I've ventured down that path.
I'm sorry that you don't use your gun.
My
to
boy
its full
Zach,
advantage.
he plays marksman and he always does Overwatch with the saw gunner. He said I described it perfectly. Seeing someone gets it, my guy, and also Matt Delling. He also said he uses the 249 playing CQB with a 3-round MOSFET, or a 3-round burst controlled by a MOSFET. It's with the ASCU, I think is what he has.
That works.
That works if you're doing
that works very well. So my kind of opinion of how a saw should be used, it kind of depends if you're working on an offensive or defensive, what your squad's trying to do right then. Offensively, I'd say I branch a little bit away from what James is saying, in that I don't think you should move up first, as he was describing, in an offensive way. I think one fire team followed by the 2 saws, followed by the second fire team. That way, the first fire team can make sure that your most powerful asset isn't taken out by someone you don't know is there. And if they are engaged, they can move with the second fire team to a more advantageous position. The fire team can cover them to get them into that crossfire advantageous position.
Yeah.
And then under regular engagements, like I said, front fire team, they're kind of leading flanks, rear fire team. It gives you they won't be in the immediate tactical position as they
But
would in
it's
James's
a-
way, but it gives them more freedom to be dynamic in their movements.
Oh my god, I can't tell you how many times we practiced that when Mike Church was
Oh yeah.
squad lead. We literally did that drill over and
Oh
over.
yeah. I mean, because
Fire team A Fire team A takes contact. Get on the line, set it up. Fire team B move to flank. Well, the
exactly.
crossfire is.
And then in a defensive position, I'd say, and then as a saw gunner at that point in the attacking position, one of you, if not both of you, should focus on whatever engagements that front fire team took. Make sure make sure that team's heads are staying down. If you don't even know where the people are,
Just fire in the general
fire
direction.
into that general direction, and to give the advantage for either your other saw or your fire team.
That's
B
your job.
to get into position. Allow your team to flank. On the defensive side of things, they shouldn't be the front line. I think they should be like one tier back, have a couple firemen or a couple riflemen in front of them.
Yeah.
Saw gunners, rest of riflemen, and their job is literally, if they see any players, is call them out, blast them, and keep fire on them until that person's dead. If there's multiple players, go back and forth. If there's someone coming over a ridge, be aiming right at that ridge and just going back and forth. And like James said, if there's someone still alive within visual range, you should be shooting at them.
Yeah.
Saw gunners should never try and play the stealth game.
No, for a
They're
saw,
not loud and proud.
I found as a saw gunner, part of what you want is somebody that's gonna be aggressive, because that means even if you don't need to be like getting up in people's faces kind of aggressive, but you need to be able to,
willing to
you
stand.
need to read the situation,
Yeah.
and you need to be able to have that, to take that violence of action and to just go for it. Be like, all right, I know where I need to be right now, and that's shooting at these guys, so I'm gonna do whatever I can to like do that. And you can't be like, oh well, I guess I can just sit here and I'll put some periodic fire down. Like you're gonna get up there.
Right.
So that's what I definitely. You
Um,
get somebody aggressive, like my boy, you like Matt Dowling. He's good. He knows what he's doing. Very aggressive.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Monty, when he ran Saw, like just get up and like just gotta get up in people's faces.
Exactly.
Ish. Not like
in the mouth.
point blank, but you want to close the gap. You need somebody that's gonna push and keep pushing.
What do you call
You
it?
gotta go balls deep.
What's his name? About that. When a cowboy shot him in the mouth.
Who is that got shot in the mouth again?
What's his name? I'm blanking
I
so hard.
don't think it was anyone that we knew.
No, it's someone we know. Well, it's someone that runs recon with us. What is his name? I'm blanking so hard.
I remember
God.
one time, there was the last spring intensive for Autumn Justice, I think it was. Matt was running his saw, and there were just enemies in the bushes. That's all he knows. So you're just raise a line. Some dude got shot in the face, and it was like, then he was complaining. It's like, I'm sorry, dude. Like,
Dominic.
what do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Oh, okay.
Suck it up.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Don't want to get shot in the face? Don't expose your
I
face.
see, right?
No.
Capizoli, whatever his name is?
No. I
Oh.
don't think so, at least.
What countries use the strike? I'm trying to look it up. I want to see if somebody
I don't
actually
think they
uses it.
do any. I don't think any
Like, I know
countries
Aries
ever
they
did.
make it.
Pat
but,
says, Pat says
I think
gun them
it's
down at
short.
60 RPS. I say no.
Nah.
No, kill yourself.
You were a little salty when you
I
had
don't
to
know
turn
why
your
the
gun
strike-
down with UBG, or at least not.
So then what do you guys
Stop
think-
that.
Aw.
Stop doing that.
what do you guys think should be like I know like Stag Ops pretty much their rule is the rifle it has to exist and has to have been in service with an actually military unit for 5 years at least. So that's why the M27 now qualifies by Stag Ops standards.
Okay.
So do you think that's something that everybody should do? Because then that would actually
I can
that would
appreciate
pretty much
that.
eliminate. Technically speaking, it would eliminate the strike since it's not really a
Yeah,
necessarily
it was more of an
military.
experiment by a company.
Yeah, like Ares, like it's the Ares strike, the defense or whatever, dynamics, whatever they call it. They made it, but like I couldn't.
I don't
find
think it was ever adopted though.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I can see arguments either side.
Yeah.
So real quick before we get into The AAR?
Yeah.
I did see a comment a while back by, I believe, James Dell asking our opinions of saws in CQB environments like this, indoor CQB. He just said CQB, but I think we can relate it to this. Do you want to start this, James? I see your face twitching.
I don't know. You really don't need a saw for CQB. Like that's just like so cheesy.
I mean, honestly,
It's just
you
so
can get a
samey
dude
for CQB. It's just like it's just like doing a double trigger and just tapping it as fast as it can. It's stupid.
And you know I'm getting a gas blowback for CQB, so at this point, clearly, in your opinion, I can't.
Oh, Dez, look at that!
The word just
Can't build a sentence.
Prefer.
Prefer,
The
okay.
word prefer. Just
You were
left
just like,
my brain. Like the syllables just retracted.
Just like
long.
So I prefer fewer, more accurate rounds, literally in every bit of airsoft that I play. So my preference is no saws in CQB, but I wouldn't say we'd ever ban them here or anything to that silliness because it's a play style. I respect that.
Yeah.
But that's why we limit it to bursts other than for special events.
Yeah. I don't see very much.
Then again, if I were going to get a classic Army micro gun, it would be
that's
first.
theirs. Of course. You're not going to hit anything.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. You're not
each
gonna hit
barrel.
anything out the
Exactly. It's just ridiculous. I
I
love
wonder
it.
how accurate it is at distance, though. Every barrel has a hop up, dog. Every barrel has a hop up. James, you don't know
James.
anything. You don't know.
You know the
I do know. I've been behind one on a push.
James, you know the cap that screws on for the magazine on the micro gun?
Yeah.
I should make a mount for a flashlight that you, instead of using that cap, you just screw a flashlight into the front, in the center of all those
That would be
barrels.
cool. I think a laser would be even more cool though.
4 lasers and a flashlight.
Can we find a way to fit tracers?
Come on, that would be scary as hell.
If we could put, you know what?
Tracers
Yeah,
would
I've been
be the
trying.
scariest thing ever.
I've been trying to figure out how on earth we would do
There's
that.
like,
you would
you'd
need to
literally
tap
have
it.
to.
You would just need to grind it down
By
to a
4
diameter.
tracer
Yeah,
units.
yeah.
You'd literally have to find a way to attach them to the barrels.
Yeah, you grind it down and get one of the dies for it, and then just do that.
Oh.
And if it's crooked at all, you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. That'd be nuts.
That has to be a good solution.
Oh.
I wonder if there's a way to put a light into the feeding mechanism.
You'd have
It's a
no
very
money.
simple feeding
Yeah.
mechanism.
You would have no more money afterwards.
Right, but it'd be really cool.
You
You'd be happy.
would go through so much money with tracer BBs. I mean, if you did like a 2-to-1 thing, but like that would be. I mean,
If you're doing that 1-to-1
just
tracers.
do anything. Tasty.
But do you have any more things to add with saw guns indoors?
Saw gunners. Really, there's honestly no need for it. Anything that
I
somebody.
can find the insides of one.
I don't have to. Hammer.
Oh my goodness!
Exactly.
I need water. I think I almost threw up.
So okay.
So no saw gunners. Anything a saw gunner can do can be accomplished indoors by a rifleman.
Stop dying on a podcast. It's rude. We're gonna demonetize us for showing a dead body on a podcast.
Ha! At least you won't be hanging from a tree though.
Aww.
Zing!
Oh. Hope you
This
guys
is
like,
the first thing we're gonna show on stream.
hope you guys like Nazis.
Perfect.
All right, G-Day at Extreme was. I'd like to
So
say-
here's where demonetization starts right
First
now.
right off the gate, boom. Look
Yes,
at that.
that was my watch for 12 hours.
So as you guys
Only 12
know,
hours.
we've been.
Yeah. It's alright, it's a watch so I was able to tell.
So we had our op D-Day. It was pretty awesome. It was very successful. Me and Isaiah wrote the missions up for that. Lots of cool ones. It was very interesting. I mean, a lot of it was very similar to kind of how it would have been in real life. A lot of either you were attacking or you were defending. Like it was pretty straightforward. A lot of the missions.
Oh, that's a cool picture. Oh, what'd you guys think of our? Oh, you guys didn't set up the hedgehogs like I wanted. I'm a little sad. Whatever. Also, the field was pink.
Only for those photos.
Okay.
Just so that Dean could get those photos. The field wasn't. It was like for most of the day it was lights on. We had a really good turnout. I don't remember how many players we ended up having.
I don't know, I wasn't on
How many players did we end up having? We had definitely like. Oh god. Okay, I'm good. All right, we're good. Okay, James. How many players do we have? No games.
I'm thinking.
That's okay.
I have to read.
You didn't check.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So,
I think.
So moving forward.
okay. So we a lot of the game modes were.
I want to say like 80 players or so.
We had at least that many.
Maybe more.
We probably had more. It was pretty hectic out there, like on the field. I mean, the first game mode was straight away hidden in on the D-Day. So the U.S. team I was leading the U.S. team. Isaiah was leading the German team. We had to push back. We had to capture machine gun.
Scott's face.
You're gonna watch 4 or 5 different photos of James eating those. I haven't gone through that small series yet. Decide which one's my favorite.
Probably Wyatt's Hitler stash was the best part of it.
But it was constantly it was intense. A lot of the day, it was very fast paced. Maybe we'll do.
That's my favorite.
We'll have some. I recorded
Such
the
a
first
cute kid.
2 games. After that, the GoPro died.
It's briefing time.
Yes. So it was pretty. It was hectic. It was great. A lot of people asked me. There was one game mode we did. So it was a battle for the city of Mortain. So that's pretty much where the Germans. That was like the German counterattack. Like they were like, all right, we need to make a push, otherwise we're gonna lose. So it was there were 4 buildings behind us, and those were illuminated, but there were no other lights on the field. That was it. So then the German team was inserting through the far side. We couldn't. We had to be set up in the area. We had 3 medics. It was a 30-second medic rule. We just had to like hold it down and have somebody at least all of those buildings for like 20 minutes. Yeah, 30 seconds to medic somebody up. It was pretty intense.
Yeah.
And it actually worked out really well because I'd see a lot of people just walking back dead. Ugh.
What?
This is the pink lights were on.
It was pretty savage, no lie. Oh, darn. But it was pretty lit, and we like held out. So the final score of the day was 395, 390 allies. We ended up getting docked some points because people didn't listen to me in the briefing for the last game. We were attacking the Germans from both sides, and I said, guys, you can only spawn on far side. After you die on near side, head back to far side, and some dudes announced or felt like they were respawned for the first few minutes on near side. So then everybody eventually ended up figuring it out, but everyone was just not focusing. But everybody, both teams were like hardcore the whole day. Like everybody had a lot of drive, and there was a lot of good morale going on. Everybody was pretty amped up. They were just like, yeah, USA, yes, and then Germany, yes. Like everybody killed it out there, and I had Jesus.
You right there, Dan?
I'm just feeling weird. I think it's because I ate.
Trash can over there.
I like ate, and then I had a rehearsal, so like the food didn't get a good chance to settle because, you know, I got the undulate, whatever. We did incorporate a new LMG rule for the day, which Isaiah and I felt like was kind of accurate for the time, because dudes weren't just running around shooting their saws, you know, open, you know, whatever. You'd have to pretty much fire from fixed position. So our rule is, if you have an LMG, you can only shoot fully automatic when you're in a fixed position, i.e. you're on a doorway, you're on a barrier, window, something like that. It had to be a fixed position. And that worked out really well. It really prevented a lot of overshooting that. You'll normally see on an event day, there were only like 2 saws, maybe 3 out in the fields.
That seemed like a pretty cool idea. I wish I could have seen that in person.
Yeah, it worked really well for the day. Sometimes they forget. Sometimes after the just long day, like once or twice a player slipped, and I was like, guys, stop! Don't. It's like, fire for cover! But other than that, it was pretty good. A lot of people liked that Mortain mission where we had to hold out for 20 minutes. kids were coming up after me and telling me, like, can we do that again? I was like, what do you mean you want to do that again? That was the most intense 20 minutes, like, ever. I don't remember sweating that much. I was like, wow, I hope they don't get to us. Because they just kept pushing. Everybody has headaches.
I love missions like that where you really get a good feel for it.
Holding it down is crazy.
Oh,
Some of those missions, but a lot of the missions are good. Everybody fought hard. And as you can see, some of the raffle prizes were awesome. Pretty some World War II stuff. So we had the 1911 A1 by Elite Force, which I personally own. And then the G&G M1 Grand, which is a $500 gun. The thing is fresh. So that kid right there, where he is, he just disappeared. Young gentleman in the green shirt was very excited to win that, and I was super stoked. But overall, like, it was I don't remember being that tired after an event day. I worked hard, and even then I wasn't trying to be the guy that did all the work. So I'm surprised I didn't lose my voice. I did a lot of, and a lot of the gameplay, it's me just yelling at people to do stuff like, this way, this way, this way, this way. But overall, it was a pretty successful event day. And everybody was, there were some problems at one point, but everybody kind of just came to their senses, and we were like, listen, if we're going to keep having problems, the first time you get caught, you're going to be pulled from the field, and you're going to be sad. Like, we're not going to do any...
we're done dealing with that kind of stuff. But,
yeah.
But overall, I think...
But overall, like, the morale and...
I stopped at the end of the day.
players.
It seemed everyone really had a great time.
Yeah,
so
like, it was a hard fight to the end.
We ended up
what was
winning.
it, like a 5-point?
Allies, it was a
difference?
5-point, 395 to 390. On the last game, it was a
Pretty
chance to get like a 100-point game, and we lost some of that because my team was respawning on the wrong side that I yelled at them not to do.
Oh, that's good.
So
Wait, how are they respawn? I'm confused.
So it was one where the Germans had to hold, they had another, it was similar to the Mortain one where they had a set of buildings they had to defend. We could start on both sides, but after we die, we could only spawn on the far side. So I tried to make that pretty evident, but some people spawned on near side, so we got docked points.
Gotcha.
But understandably so, because that was, they probably could have held out a little bit longer. But that was a half-hour long. Like, the first mission was like a half-hour long. We did it in 16 minutes, which was to push the Germans like back, take the machine gun nest, push, machine gun nest, push, machine gun nest, game over. So it worked very well. So
I definitely like to see more games like that in the future. Really using the machine, people who bring machine guns, really giving them the opportunity to be true machine gunner style things.
Yeah.
And
so we'll hopefully be
that
doing
could be
some more
fun.
stuff. More LMGs.
Yeah.
LMGs.
Right, exactly. God, I'd love to do another Spec Ops night with adults only at some point.
I think that's what we have to do.
Yeah, I think so.
I still even have kids asking me. They come up and they're like, "When's the next Spec Ops night? I want to shoot at you again."
It's
Chuckles."
funny because literally everybody that did, like, for example, the bank heist mission, everybody came back like, "Can we do that one again?" I was like, "No, everybody just gets one chance." And they'd be like, "Ah!"
Yeah. The ones that did it best were the little kids.
Yeah.
They were like, they had thought about it. Like, you figure that the adults are going to be the ones that thought it out. And it was the younger kids that were just the ones that were smart enough.
Well, it's funny because the adults a lot of times overthought it, and they'd be halfway through it, and someone would panic.
Yeah, someone would mess it up. Like,
it was hilarious.
But overall, the day was good.
So clearly, our next big event is the Expo. What is our next theme event after that? I think we've already discussed this. I can't remember. We're gonna do that's 4th of July era, right?
Yeah,
we're gonna do
May event because we're gonna do May.
No, I thought we were gonna do the Expo in April.
And then what we did that last year was we did it in April, and then we did the event.
I forgot.
Oh yeah,
because we did the event.
There should be one in
We do it in May
as well. Then we do
and then July.
Okay, so what's May was May gonna be our realistic like current events game?
Yeah, we're tossing around some ideas, thinking about.
So we're gonna do that. I believe you say it.
Well, we're thinking about a DEA
That's what I was
cartel
saying,
style one.
We've done that.
When?
I wrote that. It's funny because when I write it,
If it was more than 5 years ago, it doesn't count anymore.
it was Black Steel 1. You go on the computer, it's still there.
It's
And what year was that?
There was.
I don't know. The funny thing
which
is-
ones? It was. I know that because I know there was like the African.
No, the African was Black Steel 2. Then we have Black Steel 3, which is like Western European, if I remember correctly.
First one.
First one was cartels. It's funny because we had another event where this was one of the other times where I wasn't around. It's because I wrote these events years and years ago, and before some of you guys were playing here. And I remember you guys told me the whole event, and I was like, "That's my Shadows of War game," and they're like, "No, it's totally different."
Yeah,
and I brought up the op board for Shadows of War, and you're like,
Yeah.
"This is the same game."
Yeah. So,
But I mean, it's a different era of players, so it's not
Yeah.
the end of the world. It's just funny because you're like, we're gonna do cartels.
Yeah.
It's like, been there.
so we're trying to
Actually,
cook
look
up
for Black Steel
something.
on our Facebook events.
We're trying to.
You literally on freaking Reddit.
No, I actually,
You're on Reddit?
I was actually closing a tab and that showed up for real.
So
That
we're
is
trying
for
to think of
real.
stuff. So I mean,
See if I can find that event.
I'm sorry, I'm
Years ago.
spacing. Like
But-
I'm so what? Like
See, I still want to
I'm
do something
brain dead.
with the
I'm brain
Turkish,
dead from yesterday.
Russian, Syrian, Kurds. I want to do a real current events thing around that, but I don't have the time to write it, which is disappointing. There's so much potential for such a fun story.
Conspiracies.
Well, yeah, no, I'm totally making a whole conspiracy
Conspiracies.
game.
Everything.
That's great.
Who is behind it? Was it the president? Turkey? Was it the U.S.? Who knows?
But yeah, anything else to add about the event before we go back to LMGs for a bit more?
Definitely the most fun I've had at work in a while.
Of course.
That's because James was.
I got to dress
I'm
as a
gonna
Nazi.
give James props because he stuck all day to
To the
like
German.
to the German thing. Like he spoke with a German accent,
Subway.
straight face, no jokes the whole time.
I got to make Jew jokes all day and I got paid to do it. Literally the best day at work.
I was very impressed with how well he stayed in character and stuck with it. So.
You didn't stay in character. He was in his normal character.
He was, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
It's as Ryan said. He was like, "Oh, it's a Nazi uniform," and Ryan was like, "No, that's just his Sunday best." You know what I mean? So I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh god, it's so
But
bad.
I was pretty impressed.
Oh.
Not everybody was able to do that. It was hard, but I commend you.
All right,
Black
so
Steel, Central America, that's the one you're talking about?
yes.
That was
I'm gonna
June
make
29th, my birthday of the year...
I'm gonna have my own cartel.
2013.
See?
We're
I
gonna
said
make
5
up.
years
No.
ago, it doesn't count. Doesn't count anymore.
Oh
No, actually, I think we were rewind the stream, and you said if it's more than 5 years ago.
True.
it
If it's in
doesn't count.
June, was it in June? You said.
Yeah, June
Yeah, and this would be
29th.
May, so it's less than 5 years. It is.
It's 1 month less than 5 years.
Still counts. I guess you have to
Shit.
wait till next year.
I guess I'll have to
Yeah,
wait another
James's
one.
rule.
Damn.
Oh, damn butt.
Oh well.
Oh,
I think I can break the rules though.
Yeah, we all know that James rules don't apply to James here. at
That
the
is
stream,
true.
right?
That
Yeah,
is very true.
Because
We're
you know
not
you know what's a legitimate excuse to being late to work?
Having to take a really bad poop.
No, it was okay. Literally,
He used that excuse on
So
Friday.
So I was gonna say,
no, that was on
this-
Sunday
Dan,
morning, yesterday
Was this
morning.
was this like an important day or was it just a regular day?
No, I mean, like, it wasn't just an event day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
nothing too important, right?
So
No,
if
nothing,
any
nothing.
rep walked in and had the same story, I'd be like, all right, you're good.
No, you
For
wouldn't.
those of you who
Bull.
are curious,
It's different when you're a manager, James.
yeah,
I was the first person to show up, and you were the last person that showed up.
Yeah, see.
Other than Tom, who was scheduled for an hour past
hear this
that.
applause right now. It's something James will never hear.
ha, ha. But yeah, no, it was one of those poos where you think you're just like, all right, I gotta be at work. I just gonna take a quick poo. But you sit down and it just keeps coming out. 10 minutes with every 15 to 45 seconds there'd be a decent amount of poop coming out. And what am I gonna do? Just pinch my butthole and then just go to work and finish the poo there? No, I'm just gonna finish the poo while I'm on the toilet.
Or
and
you
I'll
wake
be
up
10
in
minutes
time.
late.
I didn't get to poo all day, okay?
I had to poo as I was walking out.
Alright.
It's just
Moving
it's one of
forward.
those things. I don't wake up and I'm like, oh man, I gotta take a shit. you
Moving
know?
on. James sucks.
Hey, I'm just defending myself. You're gonna go on the offense, I'm gonna go on the defense. That's how we're gonna play this game.
Thick.
Good thing you're D.
Lots of cool songs. But
Yeah, good
there's
thing
a lot of
like
good
D
stuff.
sucks as if you're talking from experience.
There were a lot of good, a lot of players came out in their
stories.
garb, and it looked pretty cool.
Yes,
so you
from
guys
the-
look fresh out there.
From the only person.
Shout out to Papa Zabalor he was my guy. He's one of those saw gunners that like he's bred for the role. You don't need to tell him what to do. He just knew where he needed to be and he knew when to lay it out. Like I was just like, I love you for just doing what you have to do, and I don't need to yell at you.
I do want to point out, do you remember, you might be too young, do you remember 6 or 7 years ago when everyone ran full auto? There wasn't a semi-auto rule for rifles. Global, I saw you're watching. I'm sure you remember these days. Like when I started playing, everyone ran full auto. That's just how Airsoft was.
Yeah, it was weird that people wanted to do that.
And I remember looking at saws and go,
What is your purpose?
I would go, why the hell
Would you
carry 20 pounds? And this is sophomore in high school me who didn't know what the hell was going on and still realized, why would you carry a saw?
What is the purpose?
This makes no sense. And it was so like, you had the Vinnies of the world running around with box mags and their stubby M4s.
Yeah.
Of the world.
You know what I mean.
There was a dude that used to come here that had a box
Not an
mag.
insult, just
He
people
had
like
2
me.
grenade launchers on his pistol M4.
Do you remember the kid who came in with 3 grenade launchers on his grenade launcher? Jake?
Yo, dog.
No, do you remember that?
Me.
When he bought 3 grenade launchers for his grenade
I
launcher?
think so. He had
He had a 6-pack.
Yes!
Yes, and you put a grenade launcher
That
on
was
each rail
so
and a grip on the bottom.
weird. Some people are crazy.
It's
But
a
yeah,
weird
the full auto
opportunity
thing, that's so
that shit.
funny. Like you're like, why would you spend that much money and weigh that much for like no advantage? Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Oh, God.
Whew.
My Chuckles
Remember
best
that.
leader.
Chuckles best leader. Thank you. Yeah, it was good. My guys were pretty motivated. Some of them had slip-ups, but it wasn't just purely me being able to motivate a lot of people. I had a lot of pretty driven guys that were able to be like, yeah, we're gonna do it. And I was like, then let's do it again. Just keep running at them.
No, definitely the best. The best player throughout the day was definitely Ben with his Siege Hail chance.
Yeah, he the whole time he would just start Sea Kyle. They were like, I turned, all you hear is Sea Kyle. They're like, Sea Kyle, Sea Kyle. I was like, wow,
Probably the
I was
most.
really into it.
Yeah, probably the most crazy.
You will never
part of
get
the
that
day.
many people. Well, never mind. But it's hard to get that many people in one place doing a Nazi salute.
Probably the most crazy part of that day.
Just go down south.
Up
Was,
north. I was gonna say up north. You want?
Yeah, carry your tikis around. But no. By far the craziest part of the day for me, I wasn't playing or anything. I was just in the store, always walking with my hands behind my back, being your classic, very calm, terrifying Nazi. And so I walked, and so towards
James thinks he's terrifying. As a waitress likes to say, how cute.
Yep. Yeah. No, I was pretty good though. I'd like to believe I was terrifying. Anyways, and so
With his sneakers.
yes, yeah, with my sneakers, that was definitely the worst part of that. Anyway, so I walk into additional staging, and this is like 2 games before the last game, so it's really close, and everyone's all fired up. And so I'm walking in just with my hands behind my back, just like inspecting my troops. And Ben, he looks over and he's like, an officer Third Reich has arrived, shoot hell! And everyone turns around and looks at me, does this, and goes, shoot hell! A room of like 50 people, and I'm just like, this is what it felt like to be a Nazi. Okay, this is it.
I remember you saying
it.
that.
Just like-
It was pretty.
It was like a solid 15 seconds of them chanting with their hands out right at me, and I'm like,
It was pretty fun.
You're like,
Wow.
too much, retreat.
All I had to do.
I took it like a pro, I was like,
Yeah.
I did the Hitler thing where he puts his hand up like this, the hand behind my back, and I did that, and I was, when they were done, I was like, all right, back in my store now.
All I had to say, I would turn to them and I'd like speak. I'd just be like, USA. And then everybody would suddenly be like, Bing! USA! USA! And I was like, okay, we're amped. So it was-
We had a British team too.
yeah, we had a British team, but I'll do this one's for those Brits that were out there.
I did a 30
At the first mission, I tried to do something funny because Wyatt did an announcement that 109 men died in the first day at the beaches. So I walked out of the party room and I was like, wah, wah,
Yeah,
wah.
I I think they lasted a little bit more than 100.
I was like,
Well, no,
It was
for the
100.
mission, for the
oh, for
so the
mission.
reps got
Okay.
to count all the kills. Each kill was worth 2 points, so it was
Gotcha.
109 deaths. So it was like, so I walked out and I was just trying to sing taps, and some people didn't get it, but others. I don't know. I thought that was funny when he was like 109 men died in the taking of Omaha Beach, and I was like, wah, wah, wah.
Patrick says less chuckles, more Kurt Tap.
Who dance is this?
Think on the subject of leadership.
On the leadership. But
What?
Just said yes.
All right, so unfortunately
Did
we
you
only
get
got 10 minutes left, so I think it's time we plug our stuff.
Butts, like butt plugs.
I mean, you can do what you
I
want
got.
at night,
I've
James.
been waiting to pull these beads out all podcast.
Stop.
So,
Please,
do
just
you want to plug the membership real quick, James?
Yeah,
Shameless
yeah.
plugs here.
mad
Yeah, no,
membership.
memberships are lit. We have many of them.
Have we actually had many non-EFT memberships?
No, everyone's an EFT.
Yeah, I don't think
It's
we've
such
had.
a deal that how can we
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. So the EFT memberships are the best. You know, the $60 a month, $35 activation fee for the first month. So you can consider the first month $95, or you can have a draw out between whatever. But yeah, no, they're definitely a great deal. You can sign right up on our website. Just go to extremeairsoft.ri/.
Actually, I'll pull it up.
Less James, more Kurt Tap. All right, Patrick. Now them be fighting words. All right,
Nice.
boy.
Yeah, I can
Kurt
support
Tap as
that.
the leader, didn't he?
I can support
I'm a
that.
fantastic leader.
Didn't he
Anyways.
give up on that one?
But yeah, so memberships are great. You can sign up right online, all that good stuff. Just go to
Girls cut the
extremeairsoft.ri.com/memberships. And sign
yes.
up. You get tons of great things. You get the ability to get all month air for $15. You also get Rose Video Pass, and you get to watch them once a weekend. We're working on once a month. So you hear back from the people, the insurance people, the cockroaches. And then also, speaking of hearing back from people, we're also looking to do simunition.
Yeah, talk that up. Let's talk that up for a moment.
Yes, let us talk this up. And so, simunition is really cool.
And if you're on South Kingston Town Council, you should totally let us do this.
You're also the best for
Yes.
actually trying for this part.
Yeah, for real. Not gonna lie, me and James, when we approached the town council to make sure we didn't need a gun range license, we kind of expected like a no, sorry. And they're actually going through a lot of effort to see if it's the police agrees and all that kind of attorneys agree. And we actually really appreciate the effort that's being put in to do that. So if you know anyone on the town council, say thank you for us because it means a lot.
Yeah. So that's the last piece in the puzzle is approval from the town for us to run a simunition program. Basically, what it is you use real firearms that have been converted to shoot these wax paint-tipped bullets that doesn't hurt more than a paintball gun or so.
And they can no longer fire a real bullet.
Yes,
once they
yeah.
get
So
converted
you
to a
change
gun.
out the upper slide for a lightweight aluminum slide in a different barrel, an octagonal barrel. So you can't shoot anything real, even remotely real. We would, of course, store the components to make it real in a different location, but that's not important. But basically, what it is it's going to be force on force. Anywhere from like 5v5 tournaments to a Spec Ops style night where you have a course that you have to complete.
Literally
and
going to
you
be the
can-
best Spec Ops night kind
Yeah.
of thing ever.
Yeah, so like you'll always complete your mission, but how well
Well, I'll
you complete
explain the
it.
scoring. 'Cause this is
Okay,
kind of
yeah.
So the idea is, if you
You
go to
bring
an
your own simulation kits? No.
No.
That's
That's
gonna
gonna
be a hard
no.
no.
You cannot bring in your own firearms. You cannot leave with ammo.
At least for the time being, it's no. But the whole bringing guns into the facility.
Because all we need is for one person to be an idiot, and if a real gun goes off in this facility,
It's game
it's
over.
the end to that, and possibly more than that. So we can't.
Yeah.
We cannot allow that.
Can't be doing that.
So that's a hard one. But like I was saying, the way scoring would work for the Spec Ops style missions, we probably want to do like every back and forth on. This might be a Thursday night thing. I don't know. Either way, is it's going to be if you go to escape rooms, you see the scoreboard with how long someone took to beat the room, and like different groups kind of get their names on top of the scoreboard. We'll probably throw this up on our website.
I like that.
And the idea being to be two values in the scoreboard, and one value will be how many hits your team took. Actually, there might be three values. How many hits your team took in total, how many people were left alive, assuming each person can take a hit, a second hit kills them, quote unquote, and then the time it took you to complete. So obviously, people left alive and total hits take priority, and then if those tie, it's the lowest time that wins. So the idea here being you don't need gun experience to come in. You can come in with just a group of friends and do this Spec Ops style night. It's like, high intensity mission can be a 10, 15-minute briefing period with a lot of details. It'll be in-character briefing, not just, this is what you gotta do, here's a map, have fun. It's gonna be like in-character briefings, keep it really realistic and fun. You're gonna have like a 10-minute discussion time with your team members. There's 5 or 6 friends that you're with, 4 or 5 friends that you're with, I should say. And then you're gonna have a 30-minute execution phase. And when you get hit, you don't die, you keep going. But these are marker rounds, and we'll be taking count at the end, or during, how many times you get hit. So you have 5 guys out there, 1 guy gets hit 3 or 4 times. All 4 count against your thing, and he was considered, he died during the mission. You want to come out with obviously as many living people as possible and as few hits on your own guys as possible while taking out the enemy guys. Now our side of it, the role players, when they get hit, they'll do the dramatic like, be dead kind of thing, and that's how you advance through the mission. But they will definitely put up a fight in the process. And yeah, like I said, we'll probably have multiple scenarios. Maybe we'll rotate them through every week or something like that. We'll figure that out in the future. But we'll have various scenarios, and we'll have a leaderboard for each. And we might revisit them after time or just retire some if they've been around for a while. And the nice thing is a lot of these scenarios translate very nicely from Spec Ops Night. So if you came to that, you'll have a pretty good preview of what to expect going into it. I should say for the time being, maybe in the future this will change, but for the time being, we will be using pistols only. I understand there are rifle simunition rounds that are really cool. They're also 5 joules instead of the regular 3 joules, meaning the difference is you get hit by 3 joules, hurts like an airsoft pellet. It's not too bad. You hit by 5 joules, real bad. Like, you'll want to make sure you wear a cup bad. So,
well, actually, cups are required. We would supply those with the simunition kit. That's part of the
extra cuts. Yeah,
but yeah. The simunition requires their face mask, neck protection, and groin protection.
Okay. But point being is still a 5 joule round, even the like anything unprotected is going to suck.
Yeah.
Sucking
something unprotected.
Which maybe in the future. Maybe in the future we can experiment with using the rifle rounds.
Yeah. I mean,
it depends how successful this is.
I mean, I could just get a simunition upper and throw it on my AR and just
see how it is.
Yeah, ask if someone wants to get shot by it.
But like I said, so that's planned. It'll be at least a few months before this happens, if I'm going to be honest. We're aiming, let's call it midsummer. Right now.
August.
Yeah. Yeah, let's say we're aiming to unveil it at our August event, so be excited for that. And if you are excited for it, and you really like what we're saying, throw it in the comments, let us know. The more excitement we can build coming up, I'm sure the comment. The more excitement there is building up to this, the more chance we can convince the owners to spend the money sooner. So,
Patrick sent James with the gay jokes. You know what I'm talking about, baby.
God. And then finally, like I said, we have the expo coming up.
So you expose your wares.
So for the expo, it's all about, we want as many teams and other stores here as possible. Fry is doing a great job of helping us put this together. Has he been able to get any more stores on board?
Not that I've seen, no. I haven't been in contact with them.
Let's chat to him this week to get that going. We want as many stores here as possible. And I know you might think, who would want to bring their store into our stores and that awkward? No.
Why not?
Like literally, this is about players being able to see all of the resources around them from teams, other players, stores. The more, I mean, people might say, why would we do this? Honestly, if you want to look at it on the business side, the more airsofters are part of the community, the more likely they're going to enjoy airsoft, and the more likely they're going to want to stay in the community.
Yeah.
And so even from the business side of it, it's not us just saying community because it means business. It's us because we genuinely want there to be a good community. Also,
that's what it's about, honestly.
Players are a lot less crappy when there's a good community and they actually know each other. They don't want to cheat when the person they're cheating against is somebody that's going to come off the field and know them and go chat
That
with them.
too.
You know what I'm saying though? It's
yeah,
true.
I hear ya.
It's like when people are like.
Players are cooler when they know each other. That's
people are much if you're okay, people are generally a much better like mood.
Yeah.
Like I love playing against like my friends because it's always like good.
My copper green was so good.
It's all dudes that you're just chilling. You're like, yeah, dude, heck yeah, that was good. Like it's all good spirits, man.
Exactly. The best thing is when you come off the field and you're like, hell yeah on that kill, dude.
Yeah,
Nice
dude.
job, you got me.
Good homies.
You know, it's the best. But I think with that, it's time to wrap up. I think we're going to be discussing, what were we talking about next week?
Let me pull up
We're
my little
considering
thing.
this week. Oh, like stupid moments in Airsoft, right?
Yes.
Things like that. Fun.
Many of those.
Trading fun stories of just dumb moments of ours in Airsoft where you're like, oh, well, that didn't go according to plan. We've talked about plenty of awesome
Top 10
moments.
stuff and blowbacks in Airsoft.
Oh, that's another good one, yes.
So back.
A few things next week. So stay tuned for that. Thursday, do we have anything coming up?
We might be anticipating seeing some gameplay video, but if not, we might be doing a.
See, Pat gets it. He goes, haha, wrap up.
So
hopefully be
yeah,
looking forward to some D-Day gameplay.
Oh, yeah.
Highlights of some sweet stuff. If not, we're gonna have something for you.
All right, cool. Look forward to that Thursday, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in this week, episode 54. So next week we're halfway to another random episode.
Halfway there.
Can't believe we've been doing this more than a year. It still blows me
Jesus.
away.
Yeah.
But we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.